Spiral Dial. Sci-fi with a soundscape.
She opened her eyes. A small green and purple bird perched on her nose, repeatedly pecking at her forehead. She brushed it away. A heap of tangled remnants of hammock surrounded her. Touching them, she felt a chill enter her bones and shoved them as far away as she could. Where on earth was she? Sitting up, she saw that the concert was still in full flow. The three hooded figures stood close together at centre stage. Archie was whispering into the microphone so quietly that she could not make out the words. The sound seemed muted somehow. She shuddered, remembering the tentacle and the sounds. She had to get out of here as quickly as possible. But how to escape without attracting attention? Looking around the concert hall, she realized that the hammocks were all vibrating and contorting around their occupants, just as hers had been. The hammock next to her seemed rather small, perhaps child-sized. Disgusting. Instinctively, she reached out and placed a hand on the hammock, ripping at it, trying to get it off its occupant. But it only formed a tentacle which surrounded her hand and started moving up her arm. Focusing her energy, she formed a bubble around her arm, forcing herself to her feet. And the tentacle slowed, then stopped, then gradually peeled away from her arm before reinserting itself around the former occupant. No matter how hard she concentrated, she was unable to extend the bubble around that occupant. A shroud of guilt settled on her. She would have to leave them, all of them, behind to their fate. There was no other choice. The music quietened down, the whispering coming to a halt momentarily. Turning, she realized that she had drawn the attention of the band. Archie's eyes, blank and unseeing, held hers, promising some kind of retribution for her escape. Her lips formed silent words, calling out to him, but no sound came out. The sight of him broke her concentration, and the bubble she had created around herself dispersed in a second. The music grew louder and louder, flowing over and through her. The carpet coalesced around her feet, drawing her back towards the hammock. Glancing behind her, she saw the white strands quivering, crawling over each other like maggots, forming and reforming until the hammock lay before her as new, inviting her to lie down and give in to the experience. Archie's voice whispered in her ear once more. Relax. Relax. No, she would not give in. She clenched her fists and concentrated hard, reforming the bubble within herself, pushing it out to her skin, feeling the carpet strands against the sole of her feet. First one step, then another. Further and further she travelled. As she walked, the music rose and rose, but she could not hear it. The sound was dulled. Only an echo remained, distorted and weakened by the walls of the bubble. She reached the aisle before she could take another step. A flock of green and purple birds descended on her, pecking and prodding at the bubble. This time she was prepared for them, and their beaks bounced off, harmless. Looking up, she realized that the whole ceiling was wallpapered with hundreds of these birds, the texture of their wings creating a vibrant yet deadly tapestry. After the first attack failed, they gathered themselves together and attacked her again and again, forming arrow-like formations, thousands and thousands of them. Green and purple feathers dropped from them with every pass, thickening the carpet and draining her life force. Her pace slowed with every step. She knew that she must get out of here, but to where? As she approached the top of the concert hall, the music seemed to change. It was quite unlike anything she had ever heard Archie play before. Glancing behind her, she realized that they had stopped playing completely, and yet the sound continued. Archie was tapping at his ear with obvious frustration, as if he expected the sound engineer to fix some sort of problem. Jessica wondered who the sound engineer was on Spiral Doll and how much they were getting paid. She couldn't imagine any sane person taking that one on. The music flipped again in a shower of noise. It sounded like the channel was being changed, as if there was some sort of interference. He cast his arms out in a frustrated shrug and made his way to the side of the stage. Was he following her? She thought it best not to find out. She focused her mind on getting out of that place. One step, then another. Birds, bubble, birds, bubble. Time seemed to take on a distinct texture as she pushed on through the sound. Finally, at the top of the aisle, she staggered through the door, feeling the bubble about to fail, and tripped over the green velvet curtain. Frantic, she pulled it aside, collapsed against the wall behind it, and placed both palms against the wall in a silent appeal to the ship. Something buzzed. She felt, rather than heard, a sharp click in her ear as she fell forwards into a rectangular cavity. The birds remained outside, pecking in vain as the wall reformed behind her. She was able to see them quite clearly, beaks flattening against the transparent surface, and felt her mind clearing with the blessed quiet. Where could she be? She placed both palms against the wall, reaching out to check for rock. But instead she felt a great weight pressing down into her feet as the cavity shot upwards. Of course, this was the lift. But how to control where she went? She had absolutely no desire whatsoever to end up back down in that drab corridor, or worse, become imprisoned in those filthy cages. She pushed upwards with her fingers, willing the lift to rise, and was rewarded. As it came to a halt, she was ejected unceremoniously onto the floor and found herself in a tangled heap of limbs. The bubble dissipated immediately. A sense of great comfort came over her. She felt safe here, with this person, but who could it be? Strands of blonde hair, flecks of blood. Morven. She was lying on top of Morven.